What's good, my jewelers? Tosh here. This week in DeFi Kingdoms, the training quests were launched, which are some new quests that we can put our heroes on, give us a little bit more utility. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what these training quests are, how you should use these training quests, how these training quests shifted up the market a little bit, and some bigger picture and speculation from there towards the end. It's going to be cool. Stay tuned. Just as a reminder, this is educational content only, not financial advice, and please like this video and subscribe to the channel to help work those algorithms. All right, so first of all, what are these training quests? Let's hop into it. So these are new quests that we can send our heroes on. There are 8 different ones, and there is one quest that is aligned with each stat. So these will only go off of one stat. So for example, when I'm looking at the card game, the primary stat here is luck. And what's really nice is that the UI will organize your heroes in the highest luck heroes that have a full stamina bar. Note that this might be a little bit different. So right now it's saying like my first hero has 30 luck and my second hero has 23 luck, but some of my heroes have 27 stamina that are a little bit higher than this. So if we scroll down, we actually might see some heroes that have that lower amount of stamina but higher luck. So yep, look right here is where it kind of switches over. This guy has 27 stamina and 26 luck. So if you're looking to optimize that, make sure you're scrolling through your heroes a little bit as well. Let's talk about the rewards for these quests. So whenever you complete one of these quests, you have a chance of either winning or losing, and that's for each of the quests. So you get 1 quest per 5 stamina. And for a loss, what you get is 15 experience and no gold. You could potentially get some other items, but those are just based off of different luck factors. And then if you win the quest, then you get 25 gold as well as 45 experience. So winning 5 quests is a pretty significant amount of experience, and what I have noticed is that this actually is superior to fishing or foraging in terms of experience overall, as long as you're sometimes winning one of the quests. Some other items that you can get from these are the crystals, runes, and also these pages. So the pages here are for the Eternal Story. There are 10 pages in total. Right now there are only 9 released, where a 10th will be released in a special quest later on. Once you get all 10 of these pages, then you can combine them together and make one of the tomes of this book. We have no idea what this is going to do or what it's going to unlock for us. But note right now that we can't. Nobody's able to complete this because the 10th page has not been released. So start collecting them, and just a note that none of these pages are tied to any particular quest, so you can get all 9 of the pages from any of the quests. So don't worry about like hitting like a specific one to get a specific number. It is all just random. In addition, during these quests, you can win the crystals that relate to the stat of that quest was on. So for example, if I'm playing cards, which is the luck quest, then I can earn these lesser fortune crystals. These are pretty low drop rate. I'm not too sure what the number is yet. I haven't seen those numbers listed publicly for drop rates on these quests. But previously, these were only obtainable through the Perilous Journey, and this was a reward for the heroes that died. So I have a lot of these crystals, but they are incredibly useful. Let's talk about what they do. So what it does is it increases the roll percentage for that stat for both your primary and your secondary stat. So for your secondary stat, it's actually a more significant buff there, plus 15%, where it's only plus 5% for your primary buff. So essentially when you're leveling up your hero, if you want them to have more of that stat, then you would want to feed them the appropriate crystal to go into that. This resource is really useful for looking at these numbers too, and just recap how stat growth works. So whenever you're leveling up your hero, what it does is it does a dice roll for each stat that the hero has for both its main class and its subclass. So for an example, if I have a warrior, then in its primary class, that means it has a 75% chance for strength to level up on that roll. So if I add that crystal to it, it's going to increase that from 75% to an 80% chance. Note that if he's also a warrior subclass, then he gets the plus 15 there. So instead of the 18.75%, he's actually going to have a 33.75% chance of rolling up strength on the secondary class roll. Note that all the secondary class rolls are very low in general, no matter what stat or what class it's going to be. Right now, the secondary class does not have a very strong impact. So it is nice to have those crystals in place to increase your odds on some of those rolls, since they can be pretty scarce. If you want to check out this spreadsheet, this is an official DeFi Kingdoms spreadsheet. I'll have the link to it in the description below. Make sure to check that out. Alright, let's briefly talk about how you should use these training quests. So right now, I don't really think that they overpower the rewards that you can get from mining your lock jewel, especially if you have significant amounts, or gardening if you do have significant amounts in your LP. So make sure that you're keeping those quests up and running. However, all of your fishers and foragers, I think, are pretty much good to go to send on their respective training quests to get the most experience out of them, because leveling up your heroes seems like it's going to be a very important thing later on. There are just a couple exceptions to this. So first of all, if you're keen on getting any particular profession score up on your hero, that's not going to be possible with these training quests, so you might want to focus on doing that. If you are competing in the leaderboards as well, then you may want to consider just keeping them on those quests and doing the leaderboards. Or if you're just really egg hungry in general, there are no eggs that will be dropped from the training quests. So just keep that in mind and how it might affect the market of those as things move forward. All right, let's talk about market effects. So the first pretty dramatic one was the impact on DFK gold. So gold became way more accessible with these training quests coming out, since everybody was spamming these. We could use your max stamina on all of them, and then the gold rewards are pretty nice. Also, note for the first 24 hours that these were out, the gold rewards were also doubled. So let's look exactly where these quests will release. Boom, right here. It was on that Wednesday for April 20th, 420 Blizzard. So we can see that there was a pretty significant drop, and then gold continues to keep dropping since we're seeing that higher circulation right now. I think the still is actually offering a pretty good opportunity for people to get into the leaderboard game if they're looking to get more into like those play to earn features. The leaderboards can be are competitive right now, but having the gold price cheaper makes stamina potions cheaper, which makes that jewel a little bit more accessible to more people. Also, since people are focusing on these training quests right now, instead of the profession quests, we may see a little bit more or less competition there, and making it a little bit more accessible for people. So might be a cool thing to watch out for, especially if you have like a day on your hands and have a good amount of heroes, and you're like, I want to go for one of these. Could be a good opportunity. So another thing that's really interesting is that now miners and gardeners actually have like a stam potion way that we can spam that's actually price effective. So with the previous profession quest, it used to cost 7 stamina for a quest. So if you had like a gardener with 27 stamina, it wasn't worth it to use a stamina potion to get 3 quests in foraging or whatever. It was a very low amount of experience. But now you can do the 5 quests of any of these training quests and average anywhere between like 120 and 150 experience for the 5 quests, making that ramp up occur a lot more fast, a lot more quickly. So really cool there if you had miners and gardeners that you're like, oh, I wish I could spam stam potions on this hero harder. Again, really good opportunity to do so, as gold is cheap and the stamina potions are cheap, and now we have a good outlet for them that's a little bit better in terms of experience. The last thing to consider with these training quests is that there are going to be fewer eggs that are going to be dropping, since people are going to be focusing on the training quests as opposed to their other quests. And I think this will result in a slower minting process for these eggs. And what that's going to do is, I think, kind of stabilize this price. And once we see the pets get released, it's going to boom, 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 boom for some of these eggs. Right now, I still think they are pretty undervalued. A lot of people thought the egg market was going to get destroyed with the Easter egg extravaganza event. But as I talked about on my stream with RJ, that the numbers we actually were not significant enough to do that, and we actually see pretty much no price difference from right before the event to today on the egg price. If you want to check this website out, it's foxescrow.1/items. Farmers Only Fi has been a long-standing project on Harmony, definitely worth checking out. And as well, you can find these eggs in the liquidity pools on DeFi Kingdoms. They're starting to get a little bit more liquidity, so that price is starting to be a little bit more stable on that end as well. All right, let's talk about some of the bigger picture things happening here and a little bit of speculation on my end. So obviously, I think the first thing that's really cool is just that we're getting a little bit more utility for our heroes, a little bit more, a few more things to do, and our options aren't always just like spam the profession that they have. We have a few more options to do and to play around with for our heroes that make the game a little bit more interesting. But the next thing that I think is a cool thing to consider is that they're testing out the contracts right now and starting to gather some data. There's been some hints in our AMAs that the land tournaments are going to be some kind of war or dice roll kind of system. So I think that they're starting to collect some initial data to see how those numbers actually play out. For example, like just because you have a extremely good hero that has like a really high stat for the game that they're playing, let's say they have like 35 or more for a particular game, you can still lose some of those rounds. So there's been notes this is going to be a really similar system for the land tournaments, that even if you have like the best hero that has the highest number of that stat, that they might not actually win every round. So I think that they might be gathering some data to play around with some of the numbers. Maybe these games are always just facing up against like a 30 stat opponent for that particular stat or whatever. So I think this is a really great tool to actually see like how people are using this, how the numbers are turning out in real life simulations, so they can better balance for something that is going to be a little bit more impactful with the land tournaments, because we know the land is going to be crazy right now. Those are still going for hundreds of thousands of dollars. So higher stakes there. It's better to get some of this testing out in the initial run, in my opinion. Last thing just kind of relates to the tome, and then the continuation of the theme of having some time-sensitive or time-limited events. So I think this tome, since we are still really early in DeFi Kingdoms, could be worth a lot of money later on if the supply remains low and that these still are desirable or have desirable effects that people would want later on. It's going to be like a collector's item. So I really like that they're continuing that theme of kind of making these time-sensitive items just to continue engagement with DeFi Kingdoms overall, and to provide just some more fun opportunities for what is going on here. Those are my final thoughts here. We've got a lot of really exciting stuff still to come in DeFi Kingdoms. Right now, the closest coming events are going to be some Crystal Vale expansion, getting the Gen Zeros on Crystal Vale, getting our pets out, and then also they have announced the DFK duels, which were going to be one-on-one hero duels. So we'll be interesting to see like how that comes into play, get even more utility for our heroes. Exciting things to come. I'm really looking forward to it, and there'll be some coverage on it too. Just coming back from surgery, so thanks all for your patience. Sorry for the lack of content in the past couple weeks. Should be smooth sailing from now, and excited. I'm just really excited to continue going hard into the crypto space and bringing DeFi Kingdoms and other GameFi content for y'all. So thank you so much for sticking with me. We're past 5K subs now, which is an amazing landmark, and ready to kick it in gear and really see what can come out of this channel and this community and everything else. So thank you so much for all your continued support. This is Tosh signing out. Catch you in the next one.